Hey science students, today we're going to talk about the investigation for lesson 8, where you will learn more about genetically modified organisms. What similarities do you notice between these two organisms? Maybe you notice the red on the bird's beak resembles the red on the turtle in its shell. There are actually more things that these organisms have in common than just what you see on the outside. They both lay eggs, which are fertilized in the female's body. They both generally live on land and all lay their eggs on land. They have lungs and cannot breathe underwater. They have scales covering some part of their body, and they have some distinct features in their skeleton, like one ear bone for hearing instead of the 3 found in mammals, some specific attachments between the head and neck, and a lower jaw that's made up of the same 5 bones. What evidence would you need to figure out the evolutionary relationship between them? Well, like you've learned previously, you could use fossil evidence to look for a common ancestor. You could use evidence from their body shapes and functions, evidence from embryonic development, and evidence from similarities in their genes. Recall that birds shared a common ancestor with dinosaurs that looked something like Archaeopteryx. It had features in common with both dinosaurs and birds. 250 million years ago, an organism like this existed, long before the Archaeopteryx. Recent fossil evidence and genetic data indicates that this organism, pictured here, had features in common with dinosaurs and modern-day birds, crocodiles, and turtles. Suppose this organism had a mutation that was beneficial for its survival or reproduction, and passed that mutation off to its offspring. If the star on the tree diagram, here, indicates the mutation, which organisms would have the mutation? Did you guess crocodiles, turtles, and birds? If so, you're right. Lizards, snakes, and mammals would not because they're found before the star on that branching diagram. Indeed, turtles and birds have a distinct mutation in a gene called CYP2J19. Every bird and turtle has 2 copies of that gene instead of 1. The mutation allows them to produce a certain kind of red color in their bodies and to see the color red better. What do you think would happen if you could exchange 2 copies of the CYP2J19 gene between the turtle and the bird? Well, this hasn't been tried, but it's possible, even likely, that there would be very little difference between the versions of the CYP2J19 gene because what they have is very similar. Mammals, like this mouse, do not normally have 2 copies of the CYP219 gene. So what might happen if you move the turtle's genes into a mouse's cells? Well, it's possible that the mouse would be able to see more variety of red colors, or that some parts of its body might turn red. But again, this has not been tried, so we don't know for sure. What do you call an organism that contains the genes of another organism? It's called a genetically modified organism. Scientists have learned how to transfer the genes of one organism to a different organism, like from a turtle to a mouse, or from a carrot plant to a rice plant. Genetic engineering tools have both changed society and been controversial. Society is responsible for determining what technologies are ethical for scientists to create or use, and this is a hotly debated subject in biology. The ethical considerations of how these technologies impact society are things that you are going to research today and things that will be up to you and your peers as you become adults and are engaging in those conversations. So today you are going to work on some research to learn more about a genetically modified organism. Let's look at that document next. This is the document you'll be using for Investigation 8.1, Researching Genetically Modified Organisms. The first thing that you need to do is choose the organism that you want to research. There is a list provided here. This is not an exhaustive list, so that means that this list is meant to give you some ideas, and you absolutely can choose one of the organisms on this list, but it's quite possible that you can find or have already thought of a different GMO that you would like to research that's not on this list. The examples here are glowfish, BT corn, transgenic pigs for xenotransplantation, which means pig parts that are harvested and used for organ transplants, spider silk producing goats, flavor saver tomatoes, rainbow mouse, Roundup Ready soybeans, rainbow papaya, golden rice, frankenfish, and Arctic apples. Or find your own. There are lots more out there. Once you've decided on an organism to research, you need to get to work. Use this document to keep track of what you're learning. So you'll record the GMO that you've chosen. Make sure for number 7 that you keep track of any sources that you use. And remember, Google isn't a source, it's a search engine. Copy and paste the links, the URLs to any websites you use here. Then find the answers to these questions and record them here. What was the purpose of creating the GMO? How are the donor and recipient of the gene related evolutionarily? Include a picture of each. What are potential benefits of the GMO, potential risks, and how has the public received this organism so far? Then submit this document in Schoology and use the link to get to your teacher's FlipGrid page and share what you learned about your organism there. So you'll want to hang on to this document and use it as a reference while you're recording your FlipGrid video, and then submit it in Schoology once you're done. Good luck and have fun.